Hi, welcome back to the Midday Q&A. I'm your host, the Duckman. Back today with my 1956 Beetle, also known as Eleanore. And why am I up on the roof with a skill saw with a big old box drawn in the middle of the roof? You're about to find out. But before we get to any of that, please like, comment, subscribe, plug that dingle belly, that way you get updates every time I upload a video. And check out duckshit.net, which is my website that has all of my social media links on there. If you'd like to find me on any of the other services, that's the place to do it. We'll be back right after the intro. No. Absolutely not. No way. We are not going to be putting a rag top, and we are not going to be putting a sunroof on Eleanore. Absolutely not. No way would I do that. And I've been asked that more times this past week than probably any question that I've ever been asked about Eleanore. And a dozen times just this week alone, and it's Tuesday that I'm recording this. So yeah, absolutely not. There will not be any holes cut into Eleanor's roof at all. No. And one of the reasons is because all that does is give another place to leak for more water to come into that car. And I don't want another point of maintenance that's going to be absolutely mandatory, and they're not particularly cheap either, to stop water from getting into the car, from rusting it from the inside out. And that's what happens here in Florida, because if you've been watching my videos, you know that it rains every day. Well, damn near every day. We've actually had a bit of a dry spell this past, about 3 weeks or so. I think we got a bit of a drought. But it did rain on Saturday pretty good, but not for long, which is why I did that fishtailing action with Ruby. But a lot of people are wanting to ask questions about Eleanor's orifices, and I think this is a good place to cover it. So all these openings that you see on Eleanore, just what am I going to do with them? Let's just say it's not quite the same as I would do with any other lady. Let's go ahead and start from the front of the car. You see, here is my chopped windshield. It's less than half the height of the stock windshield that it replaced. I actually made this frame from a 1969 Beetle. It will require a custom piece of glass. We'll get to that in a minute. But a lot of people have asked, hey, Duckman, are you going to put a Safari windshield in here? And my answer is no, I'm not putting a Safari windshield in there. And my answer to why is because they leak. Same reason as I won't put a rag top or a sunroof on this car. It's just they leak. They look really nice. They're really stylish. But the other problem is that the hinges that are inside of here, being that the windshield is so much smaller, they're so much closer to your head. So being as tall as I am, when I move around inside of there, I really don't particularly like the idea of being whacked in the head by a metal hinge, especially in the event of an accident should my head whip forward for some reason. Yeah, not a good idea. I don't really like the idea of a Safari windshield, but I did consider it. I talked to Jeremy over there at VW Loose Nuts about making a custom one for this, and he's the only guy I would buy one of them from, by the way. Really nice guy. Check out VW Loose Nuts up on Facebook. I think he has a website also. If not, Google it, VW Loose Nuts. You'll find him. He makes those Safari windshields, really excellent quality, really, really nice. The next question I got asked is, hey, if you're not going to Safari the front windshield, are you going to, Safari the oval? And same thing goes. No, I'm not going to Safari the oval. I don't want it to leak. Not to mention, the lip around the inside there is a little jaggy because of some of the rust that happened to it. So I'm going to put a rubber seal in it to cover it. I mean, Earl and I talked about this in the video that you might already have watched. I don't know what order I'm releasing them in, but you may have already seen Earl and I talk about the back window and the opening being a little jaggy. It's less than perfect. And sometimes when it comes down to building these things, it's not rusty. I cleaned it up. Just put the rubber seal on and just bury it. You're not going to see it. You'll never know it's there. It doesn't really matter to me. So that's going to be the case on that one. I'm just not going to do any more work or repair to it than really what is necessary. So the next question I got asked then is, how about the rear quarter windows? The rear quarter windows sure would be nice as pop-outs. Now, I have considered that. And I just might do that. That is something that you actually did find stock on a 1956 Beetle. And since I have to cut custom glass for it anyway, might as well have the little hole drilled for the hinges and put it on. You know, why wouldn't I want to do that? That makes sense, and those I will probably do. They will leak, but because these don't have all the weep holes and other crap that's usually you would find on the other windows, front and back, I don't think that they would be as prone to causing damage to the vehicle, so I might put those on there. We'll see how I feel about that in the future. Right off the bat, we will not be getting glass in some of these windows. The quarters, for example, in the windshield, I'm going to be making a polycarbonate piece for the, Lexan, and I'll put that together on there. It doesn't need to be glass right away, but what I am going to do is I am going to cut glass for the windshield. I'm going to take a 69 Beetle windshield and cut it down, and I'm going to experiment doing it myself using some of the methods that I've seen some of the other people on YouTube use. And if I get lucky and it works, hey, fantastic. If I break a couple windshields in the process, it'll make for a great video, and the YouTube alone will repay me for it, I suppose. I don't know. Maybe. But I'm going to give it a shot. I mean, I want to try doing the lighter fluid method where you etch it on both sides, lighter fluid it, let it crack, and then, gently break it off and then just polish the end of the glass down. That seems like something that I want to try. I want to try it. I've got a piece of glass inside. It's an older piece of glass. It's a little beat up, which may be one of the reasons why it would break if it's going to break, but I want to try it. So, yep, I'll be trying to cut my own windshield for this car. Some other people ask about vent windows. And up here in the doors, you notice everything has been cut out so that way it's set up for one-piece windows. And one of the reasons why I did that is because, well, there was so much rot in here that so much of this metal had to go away. And that included the vent window portion where the lower hinge bolts down into the door here. It was gone, it was toast. Now I could rebuild that, and I might rebuild that. I haven't decided exactly yet what I want to do with these windows. Because of the door's shape and how I had to build the door to make it match the roof because of how I cut the car, I may not be able to get a one-piece window in here because, well, if it's a flat piece of glass, it's going to want to go straight up into the door. And if the front is twisting a little more than the back, it's not going to roll up all the way, it's going to bind. And if that turns out to be the case, well, then I'll use a short piece of glass, stop it right about here, put in a vent window, be done with it. If I do put in a one piece of glass, and my windows do seem to work, and it seems to be a good thing, I'll make some kind of a vent window for the side here. That way I can roll that window down and put a, I've seen these on 356s. I don't know if they were factory stock, aftermarket, I have no idea. But something that just clips onto the outside of the body or bolts into the body here that allows the glass to pivot. I didn't want to talk about that, but that's something that I might wind up doing. I'm really on the fence with some of these things. I'm not asking people questions. It will be determined how I want to do it when I get to that point in time. And at this time, I'm not yet to that point. All right, and the other thing that I'm going to be adding, and people keep asking about, is the chrome trim on the car. You know, the Beetle used to have a bunch of chrome trim, strips down the side, stripped down the hood. Am I going to be putting that stuff back? Yes, absolutely I am. In fact, I have all the original chrome trim that goes around the windows because I've got the rubber seals, as a matter of fact, with the groove in it to put the chrome trim back in. And I will be re-adding that to this car. That's something that I don't want to be without. I want this car to look like it was factory stock. Maybe a custom coach built, but factory stock. All the original chrome is going to be on it. Well, I got to ask about these door handles also. People say they really, really like these ice picks. You know, why don't I go ahead and put them on the other side and suicide the door? Well, I don't like suicide doors. I've discussed this many times before. No suicide doors on this car. Everybody else that seems to do a chop top puts suicide doors on their car, and I don't want them. I want something different. I am going to be hiding the hinges, as you know. You can see through there. I'm still working on the passenger side first, and I'm almost done with that, by the way. It's only a little bit more tweaking and final welding that's going to be taking place, and I'm probably going to record that video after this one, so you're very likely to see it tomorrow. Again, I don't know the order that I'm releasing these videos, but watch for it. If you haven't already seen it, it's coming soon. But the original ice pick door handles, I do have a brand new replacement for them. I'm not going to be running these rotted out old handles. Some people keep saying that, you know, why would you run these stupid handles? I'm not running them. I've been cutting and grinding near these crappy handles because if I slip, I'm not going to mess up the new chrome. You know, come on, I'm not the dumb one here. I don't want to be stupid and mess something up. A lot of questions have been asked about the lighting on this car, particularly exterior lighting. What am I going to put on the back? And the answer is, and I'm not going to show them in this video, but the stock 56 taillights. They're actually in pretty good shape. They survived the hurricane weather. One of them is damn near perfect, and the second one's got a little rust hole in it that I'm going to fix up. But I'm going to put the stock 56 taillights, those ones that have the little lenses on it, they're only about this big. I'm probably going to take the bulbs out of them though and get the custom LED ones. Those things, I just find them more appealing. They're much brighter than the bulbs, and they also react faster. When you step on that brake pedal, you turn the lights on, they come on instantly. There's none of this fade on like light bulbs do. So I will probably upgrade them to LEDs. I very much like that idea. And they're not too expensive either, being that they're only, a small LED packet. I think that'd be a pretty good idea for there. And up in the front, we're going to be using the stock headlights that are on here. I'm going to de-rust them, clean up the chrome. The chrome is actually in pretty good shape. It just got some marks in it, but I can clean that up. I will probably put the bullet turn signals back on here. I still have at least one of them, maybe both. If I dig around, I might find them both, and put the originals back on where they belong. That was something that was typical of 1956 Beetle. And again, I want this car to look like it was a custom coach built from 1956. So those turn signals will probably be going back on this car. I'm going to have to buy a kit to either rebuild them, and I'm probably just going to wind up buying the whole kit just to replace them and pick out whatever parts that I don't need and put them on a shelf so I can use most of the original stuff if at all possible. But yeah, that's the deal. And no, this giant Hitler mustache that you see here is not part of the apron, it's just a blanket. And the reason why that blanket is there is so that way the hood doesn't get caught on the lip, because there's no rubber seal in it right now. But as I had said in the previous videos, chrome trim or any trim work on the car is one of the last things that I'm going to do. I'm not going to be buying new chrome trim work, stainless steel trim work. I'm not going to be dealing with the trim work. I'm not going to put on brand new handles yet. These are the last things I'm going to worry about. But there's one thing that comes after all of that, the sound system. That's right, Duckman doesn't need a fancy radio put in the car now. The car doesn't even have paint on it, and have windows in it. And people are asking me, to plan out a radio system. No, absolutely not. And that's the least of my concerns. I want a cool car that drives really nice. I'll worry about the sound system last. Let's put the car together first. I'm not even going to consider stereo. I don't even want to talk about stereo. I mean, it's totally like a kid thing, a teenage high school kid thing. What kind of stereo are you putting in your car? Yeah, no, we're not even going to touch that topic. All right, one of the last things left to talk about is right here. This is my custom hidden door hinges. And a lot of people have asked a lot of questions about it, and people still continue to give me suggestions on how to install it. And these, of course, are the people that told me that it wasn't going to work are now telling me how I have to make it work. And I've got it to work, and I have not used anybody's advice at all. I've completely gone off on my own spin here, and what I've got, it works. As you can see, it's not dragging. The gap is a little big. But as I was talking to Earl over the weekend, Earl says leave the gaps kind of big, because when he starts adding the layers and layers of clear and paint and primer and all the other stuff, these gaps are going to close up. So he wants to see the gaps kind of on the big side. So I'm not going to worry about making these entirely too tight. But I'm going to make a few adjustments to these hinges, bringing them out just a little bit more, so that way I do tighten this gap up just a little bit. And then I'm going to call this done. Get this thing finally welded in, take the measurements and transfer them to the other side and get that finished up. But anyway, I think that's it for now. If, of course, you have any questions that you'd like to ask, I try to cover them in another midday Q&A video. So please go ahead and ask away. Always like, comment, subscribe, pluck that dingle bell, and we get updates every time I upload a video. And don't forget to check out duckshit.net. That's my website where you find all of my social media links. If you haven't been there yet, you need to visit there. You can find my Instagram and a whole bunch of other things where I post stuff in between videos. Yesterday was actually a lazy day. I managed to come home early enough that I could have worked on the car. I didn't want to. So what did I do? I posted up on Instagram instead. So if you want to see some of my other stuff, that's probably the place you want to look. Hit up duckshit.net. You'll find Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that great stuff. Anyways, thanks guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.